Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. Thank you everyone for being on time. This is Tina Shafer. Tina, they've been sent all your links and they know what a superstar songwriter you are and what a staple you've been in the New York songwriting scene. Not just New York. I mean, I wrote an article when I went to Germany and I got stuck in this ghastly place, and I was like, Tina, do you know anyone in Germany? You're like, oh yes, I know several people from the circle, and it's just,
I remember that.
Oh yeah, it's this global family of songwriters thanks to you. So I wanted to just give you, Tina, an opportunity to say sort of what you're up to now, if there's any part of your journey that you find particularly interesting. Just give us a couple minutes of sort of what's really important to you now and what you're doing and what you're contributing, and then I'm going to open up the floor to these guys who prepared some questions for you.
Well, journey is a good word because every day is a journey, particularly in this business.
Yeah.
And the business has changed so drastically in the last 7-8 years that, what we're doing is reinventing the wheel. What I have been doing, I'm a vocal coach on top of being a songwriter, and I continue to train artists. I continue to work with them with their songwriting skills. I try to direct them with boutique PR companies that have booking agents so that they can get gigs and they can get a little PR for their videos, their songs, and their licensing. And I'm still running the New York Songwriting Circle, which is going into its 25th year next month. And it's a submission-based website, and we actually do have a listening team where we really do listen to the music. And if it's something we love, we always call. And I truly believe in a community for songwriters, since it's such a lonely life otherwise. So that's beginning of what I'm up to, and however I can answer questions and be of service to other people, I'm here.
Awesome. Wow, so we've got Brad down here who's in the middle of America. Jenna is up in Toronto. There's Lauren now. We've got the whole gang here. This is great. So Tina, I just wanted to sort of kick off, you besides contributing all of your life skills and songwriting talents and skills and vocal coach skills, you also are a songwriter and you have your own projects. And I know you've written for Celine Dion and so many other artists. So as a writer, how is that sort of incorporated into your journey of music, as well as just running this amazing community, not just running, but running the amazing community and being this huge, powerful source of contribution? What about your music and writing?
No, that's a great question because, I spend a lot of time doing a lot of things for other writers. And, to focus on myself, I have a motto, do 5 to stay alive. And I try to do a little bit every day. And I'm reading a wonderful book called The Artist's Way, which I would highly recommend to every songwriter, just about getting out of any type of stuck position in your writing. Mm. It is such a spiritually beautiful book. You don't have to believe in anything except music to read it, but it is probably one of the best books I've ever read, just about writing every day, doing a little something, whether it's journaling or reading a piece of poetry, whatever you can do to keep that inner flame inside alive. Because it's very easy to get dampened in this day and age, particularly in the nature of where our business is right now, which is there's so much to choose from, not necessarily great stuff, but there's just so many eyeballs everywhere. We have to keep the focus on ourselves and what it is we would like to share. So that's where I am.
Very cool. Yeah, let me open it up to see what questions are out there, and then I can sort of help drive the conversation. I don't think we're going to need any help. Jenna, I'm going to start with you. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to know, in the songwriting process for you, is it more formal or is it more, I guess, organic in the sense? Because I went to a seminar with Diane Warren, and she was in like, so everyone wants to know her methods, like how she writes these hits, and she was just kind of like, I just kind of go, you know? Yeah, so I wanted to know what your style was.
Wow, well, she's had such a hugely successful career, tremendously highly motivated person. And I think I don't consider myself a Diane Warren. I'm more rootsy oriented. I would consider myself probably kind of, I would just say rootsy Celtic, real singer songwriter. Think of 70s, music, and comes from more of a place of inspiration and then a lot of perspiration in structuring and going over what I've done. I mean, there is definitely elements into correctly writing a song for a certain market. You should know your market. If you're writing from head to hands, that's one thing. If it's from head to heart to hands, that's more usually of your personal stuff. But there's definitely structure in writing proper popular music, and Diane is definitely the queen of that. She was spectacular with the key changes and the structure. I would find out, what kind of artist you are or who you would like to write for, and then kind of study those aspects of that music.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jenna. Thank you.
Really good question.
Brad. Brad's a songwriter and getting really in the Christian genre, and a composer, sort of digging into starting to see what it looks like to write more music for films, and really exploring the creative writing for a lot of different avenues. So Brad, that's my intro for you. So what do you got for Tina here?
Brad?
Hi, Tina. I guess a question that just kind of popped in, there was a couple of things, and I kind of wanted, I think I came in a little bit late. You were talking about the Songwriter Circle, and I kind of like to know more about what that organization, what you do. And also, you're into a lot of things, and I know Cheryl's into a lot of things. And how do you keep focused? I mean, how do you keep it all, like this? Because I was thinking even a little while ago this morning, it's like, well, I've got this other business that I'm starting up, that I started up a little while ago that's totally unrelated to music, and then I've got, composing and artist work and songwriting. And how do you keep it all straight?
Well, I think that's, we wear many hats being artists. And, of course, we're looking for, all the balls that we're juggling, which one's going to land that's going to make us some money so that we can do what we love. So you might be at a place in your career where you want to focus on what can pay the bills to get you to do what you love. For me, creating the Songwriter Circle, it was really a tremendous amount of focus went into organizing a community and a place and a platform for other writers to be heard. And that really developed on its own organically. It kind of took off because it was needed, and that kind of took over my life because of that. And I found out through doing it's a service to the community, but it has paid me back 1,000 times, just because anytime you go to a circle and you put goodness into other writers, other stuff comes back. I've met more incredible writers and seen more people come out of the Songwriter Circle just because of the nature of what it represents. So that's really how that took over the balance of my life. And as far as writing, again, I try to make a little time for it every day. To me, usually what ends up knocking the most at my door is what's paying me. And I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. And so, I am a top vocal coach. I went back to school to get more training in that. So that is primarily my source of income. The Songwriter Circle is more of a service, although an incredible thing. I really suggest finding, what can you focus on that you think will bring you the biggest source of income just so you can do what you love. Licensing and all those things are great, but they take tremendous amount of time and skill to really place something. And it's the catch-22. Once you place something, then someone will take something else of yours. So you just got to keep at it,
Yeah.
And I'm finding that it takes time, and especially when nobody knows who you are and you don't know anyone, so it's real like. Oh, God.
That's how, what we all start out that way, and you just, one thing, and I think Cheryl's this way too, and I think all of us, you just have to know in yourself that you are going to do what you're going to do. And no was never an answer for me. I always looked at no as another way to get to yes. I never took it personally, because let's face it, 99% of our careers are rejection. So I just found another way. Okay, this guy didn't take my song, but I'm always super friendly and never taken personal. Well, maybe this person will know someone that would love this. Hey, I love your work, but I know you didn't like my tune, but maybe do you know anybody else that's looking for this or licensing for this kind of material? And always be the people that I always book, and that I use to help me in my life have always been positive. They're just, they never take things personally. It's just business, and you're just putting yourself out there. So if you can go with that attitude, I think you stand a huge chance of nailing something.
Yeah, totally. I'm in 1% agreement. And
well, Cheryl, you're that way.
Yeah, I mean, what I tell these guys is like, when you make a request to someone, they can say no or yes. No matter what they say, there's going to be something else to do. So if they say yes, cool, then you have to send them stuff, you have to follow up, you have to tweet it. If they say no, okay, cool, then there's more research. Like, there's something always to do beyond that other side. So it's really not about the no or yes. It's like, what's the next action to take? That no or yes is just going to help you decide what that action is. So, and that to me takes that personal thing out. It's just like, okay, what's next?
And sometimes the least thing you think, like the first time, I got a big cut, it was completely a song that had been rejected so many times. It was, Love Is on the Way, and Billy Porter, who's now a Tony winner on Broadway, had done it. He got in a record deal. He was dropped. I mean, it was just one miserable story after the next. We showed up at a party where Bette Midler was. We were raising money for the parks in New York. And we sang our song, and she wrote on her cocktail napkin, "I love this song. Can you submit it for my film, The First Wives Club?" And everyone else had rejected the song. It was like I framed the napkin. It was just one of those things where you just keep it out there no matter what.
I love that. That's amazing. Before we get to Lauren, I'm just going to quick piggyback on what Tina said about sort of just setting time out for yourself. I know I've talked to you guys about this, like my goal tracker. So really, this has been like my lifesaver for the past couple months. Like, I have so many projects, and this is literally like every time something happens, I color in a new number. And it's just like my participants, how many song placements, the ads I score, and it like speaking endeavors, all the things that I want to accomplish this year. Like, if I am filling in these numbers, like, I'm good. And like, this doesn't tell me when I'm doing my work. It doesn't tell me anything else. But when I'm like, what should I do today? Like, I look at this, I'm like, oh, I haven't gotten a song placement in a while. Okay, so you know what? I really want to color in one of these numbers on song placement. So I'm going to do some work around that. Like, having a sheet of like all the stuff that you're up to, like all your projects, and it's just the results that I want from all my projects. It's like, for me, I'm not a very visual person, but this, like, I have this right in front of my computer, like every day for the past couple months. A friend of mine like made one. She did a big hand-drawn thing. It's on her wall. But this is like, if you can just get your projects, like visualize them, see them all together on one page, it's been working for me. You guys have the template download, so it's in your back end of the course. So try playing with that and seeing if it's like, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stuff on there, but that's it. Like, this is what I'm working on this year. So that, and scheduling in time for each one of these things is like, for me, that's been the key thing, to be able to like take this hat on and put this hat on. Like, I have like a hat rack, like all the hats we wear. It's like Dr. Seuss over here. So anyway, so I just wanted to give that to Brad. Did you get your question answered, Brad?
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Awesome. Lauren, you're on.
Okay, so my question is, like, I perform a lot, like 3 times a week. And sometimes, like more recently, like I've been taking on a lot more like restaurant gigs, which are like me singing for 2 hours. And, you know, I mean, because like you said, like that's where the money is right now for me. Like, you know, they pay pretty well for those kind of things. And I just want, like, I know, you know, outside of like getting sleep and drinking enough water and things like that, like, do you have any like really good tips for maintaining vocal health, like for like being on the road and doing these 2 or 3 hour, you know, sets sometimes? Like, cause it's just like, I'm getting ready to go on tour as well. So I'm trying to make sure I have like a good regimen in place for it.
So, well, thank you for, sharing that information with me. And yes, I absolutely, as a vocal coach, I have written a book recently called Finding Your True Voice. And you can get it online. It's very cheap. It's like $9. And it comes with a whole set of videos of exercises, particularly for people that tour. I work with a ton of people that tour. I work with people after surgery. I work with people that lose their voices who have toured and haven't gotten a proper technique. And I think the most important thing you can do is get your voice in good shape properly, technically. There are definitely ways to do exercises that can help that. And to lead a clean life, when you're touring, you're like a marathon runner. It's, as you know, it's nonstop, and it's very tiring and taxing on the body. So make sure that you are eating well, getting as much sleep as possible, and doing the best you can to do at least 5 or 10 good technical exercises a day. But if you go to my website, tinashafer.net, you will be able to find, or if you just go to Vimeo and you type in Tina Shafer, I have the video that went up for free. I mean, whatever is helpful, it's there. I've done a lot of stuff. I've tons of artists that tour, so I feel your pain. And the restaurant job is really taxing. 2 hours of singing is a lot. Even the top people at the Metropolitan Opera, even at 2.5 hours is like a lot. It's like a opera.
Yeah.
So you should be in shape.
Yeah. I mean, I do, I'm a classically trained vocalist. I studied in college. So I do try to make sure I call it singing on purpose.
Sure.
So I try to maintain that, but I probably could do a little better about that. Maybe just learn some dedicated techniques, update my techniques and stuff. Yeah.
Well, great. I think bel canto technique is wonderful, and that was my training. But also, I've worked with people that do a lot of work in their chest voice, which seems to be most of what covers the popular area of music, and that's where most people get into trouble because they're improperly using their speaking voices. So I hope that you get some help from that. You sound like you have a lot of knowledge, which is really important, and I really wish you all the best. Sounds like you know what to do.
Tina, what's the name of your book that's on your website, tinashafer.net?
It's called Finding Your True Voice.
Finding Your True Voice. Cool. Awesome. That sounds like an amazing resource for anyone that's using their voice, period. Or anyone that is not using their voice and wants to find their true voice. Amazing. Cool. Lauren, did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to check it out,
Great. So let's see here. Jenna, we're going to go back around the circle. Did you have another question?
Oh, I just want to know if there's a way, if I wanted to start something similar, like a songwriting circle in my own area, how I would go about it.
Well, you could, where do you live?
Toronto.
You're in Toronto. Well, you know what you can do is you can get my Tina at songwriters-circle.com email.
Okay.
And you can email me, and we can discuss a little bit of that, and I certainly can help you with guidelines of setting something up, at least, the format of which we do. I think that's great that you want to support that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
There are song circles that started everywhere. I was working with someone who was starting there's one in Italy, in Milan. I think there was one in LA. It's spread out a little bit, and then it really is such a New York thing that I think it sort of morphed back to being a staple in New York. But didn't it go a little global, or?
Yeah, we right now I have one in Ireland. We did have one in Milan. I had one in LA, but LA is a weird town. People don't tend to go out a lot in LA after work. It's like New York, everything's close and people get out and they can take a subway or a bus. But there it's like you got to drive everywhere. So yeah, it's like that. It's a weird place. And I'm doing one in Nashville at Douglas Corner in April. So we keep them going as much. They're under the New York Songwriter Circle umbrella. But yeah, I mean, I'm always open to seeing people start a platform for songwriters anytime.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, Jenna's got a community thing, and she's really a staple in the Toronto music scene. It's like her city. Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Thanks, Tina. Brad, do you have a laser question here? Second one.
I was wondering, Tina, do you teach online lessons? I taught voice for 15 years before we moved to Michigan here. And I never did that, but I know a lot of teachers do. So I was just wondering if you do that and if you've had good success with that.
That's a great question. I am not a believer of Skyping. However, if I've worked with a student first and I've had them in the studio and there's nothing that takes place of being one-on-one with somebody, as you know, as a teacher. And when you have that basis and foundation, then if they're on tour, like, I Skype a lot with people who are on tour, then I can Skype with them and they know what I'm talking about. We've been through the process together. But just Skyping in the beginning with someone is hard. There's so much that comes into just feeling somebody's presence in the room with you and being able to diagnose what their good points and what their problems are.
Yeah.
Kind of what, because I've never done it for that reason, because you want to be able to see them and hear them right there. So thank you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
All right, we have time for one more question. Lauren, do you have anything?
I mean, I'm just excited to I haven't had a chance to really look into everything that you're doing. I'm really excited to learn more about the Songwriter Circle because that's kind of my thing too. I'm interested in starting a tour management company for artists, and that's right up my alley.
That's really well needed. Things that I will tell you, areas that they're areas that are doing really well right now, that people are like boutique PR companies, boutique management. I'm saying boutique, meaning that it's affordable. And these places are doing really, really well right now because they're able, you're able to help artists, but you're able to get a little bit of money for what you do. And I just, I think that's a really great area for you to explore.
Yeah, Lauren showed up to this MX4 class and she's like, so I'm really good at booking tours. And I'm like, okay, I never hear artists say that. Like, that's amazing. Like, let's talk about that. That's definitely a hole for a lot of people that are just not getting what it takes to have that relationship with the venue and get the contract and be responsible for follow-up. And Lauren's like, yeah, that's just one of my strengths. So
that's a huge strength.
Yeah.
And that's something that you should figure out what the value of that is. Something that's affordable and practical, but also that could help you start your business. That's, and that's something you and Cheryl, I'm sure, because Cheryl's just so great at putting that stuff together. So that's a great idea.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. Tina, do you have any sort of your last, imparting words to give to, the whole audience here? What's like right now in this day and age, like what's something to be focusing on? What's something to not forget about that maybe has changed or that we sort of don't think about?
Well, the one thing that I always say, because people always ask me in interviews, what do you think about the business and all the years you've been in the business? And I can say the one thing that never changes is great content. It never changes. People need it. People love it. People want to hear their story and their truth through your songs. However you bring that about, if it's pure and true to yourself, it's going to touch someone else. And you know what, to me, that's why we're here. And it's what makes our culture what it is. And that's why I do what I do in service at the Songwriter Circle, because what would we be without it? So, just keep honing on your craft and focusing on what you love, because That's what it's about. That's what's gotten me through all these years. Really, I wish everybody such, continued success at what they're doing.
Thank you
And thank
so
you,
much.
Cheryl. This is so great what you're doing. It's awesome.
This is fun. I love this. So, well, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Jenna and Brad and Lauren, for sort of representing musicians out there in the world. And Tina, for your time. I know you are so incredibly busy, and this was really generous of you. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you.
yeah, everyone have a great day. And for those of you in the MX4 course, I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.
All right, stay tuned for the next episode of Key Conversations, where we are going to be talking with Mr. Benji Rogers, the CEO and founder of Pledge Music, and we are going to dive into all things fan funding. So stay tuned. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.